Welcome back to another episode of Right Here in Mass. Joining me today is Clarissa Robyn, a mom and Montessori certified guide for children aged birth to 6 years. As the founder and creative director of Star Path Montessori, Clarissa has been in the early education field for over 20 years. Her mission is to change the perception of Montessori as only offered in school settings. So through Star Path, she provides the space and time for families to meet each other, get to know one another better, and share and learn from each other's parenting experiences. Clarissa, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. It's so nice to be here. I feel honored to have been welcomed.
I am so happy to have you here. And for our listeners, her full bio will be in our show notes, but I'd love to give you the opportunity to just share with everyone who you are, what you do, and what led you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So, like Ashley said, she said it all there, but I will reiterate. My name's Clarissa, and I live in Dedham, just a hop, skip, and a jump from Boston. And I am a mom of a 12-year-old. He's my muse, my everything. And then I'm also a Montessori educator. I've been in Montessori for over 20 years, in early childhood education for 25. My sweet spot now is toddlers. I teach full time at a school in Newton, Jackson Walnut Park. I am the toddler lead guide, so I'm working full time with toddlers and also on weekends with toddlers and families. So you can say it's kind of my thing. I have been teaching for so long, and the pandemic just brought about so many different things. And one thing that it brought about for me is Star Path, just being a connector to Montessori for families with young children. But also, as spaces started opening up, I said, hey, why don't we have like a meeting space for Montessori? And that's what I created with Star Path. And it has definitely taken off. I have lots of families coming through its doors, enjoying classes, and I'm just continuing to grow in this, sort of mission of making Montessori accessible to everyone.
I love it. And I know I gave a brief overview of what Star Path actually is, but why don't I give an opportunity just talk more about it and what it offers and how it supports families in the area?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a little different because it doesn't really exist anywhere. So my main goal in the last year has been to really bring people through so they can actually experience it in real life. So it is, it's Montessori, but it's not a Montessori school. I do teach full time, so I'm not here during the week. I am here, however, when school's not in session. So whenever I'm not at work, I'm at Star Path offering a play space for children, offering partnership services for their parents, and classes for early education. And I have classes that just run the gamut of creative experiences. So I'm a creative at heart, and I've also been brought through the performing arts as a child. So I have that. I have a dance degree, which a lot of people don't know, but
Very
I do.
cool.
Yeah, I did come through that as a child, and I went to school in a magnet school in Florida. So, jazz choir, digital arts, playing instruments and dance are really great things that I remember. And I just love sharing those with children. So I have a lot of classes for young children, 6 and under, because there's really not a lot available for very young children. Most classes start, age 5 and up. But I have art classes, I have creative movement classes, I have yoga classes, I have cooking classes, which are very, very popular. And these are all for children 18 months to 6 years. And I love what Star Path has become because in my day-to-day experience with young children in my classroom, I can see what they're capable of. And a
Mm.
lot of people don't give them the benefit of the doubt. And once you see these little children doing these activities, it's pretty incredible. And the effects that it has on their parents and caregivers to then take that, what they see and witness, and bring it home and set up these spaces for their children. It's incredibly rewarding.
I can imagine. And for any of our listeners who aren't totally familiar with what Montessori is, could you give a brief overview and explanation of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love explaining Montessori to people. In my own words, Montessori is a set it and forget it method, basically. So children are born. This is what Montessori saw in her own work and in her creation of this basic, educational pedagogy. She saw that children were left to their own devices without the tools to gain any kind of stimulation from their environment. When you leave a child to their own devices without anything to entertain them, they go a little wild. And that's actually what she saw in San Lorenzo, Italy. And so she did some, she was a scientist at heart, and she said, well, why don't we just set up a space and see what they do? And these children were so they were just basically so thirsty for knowledge and thirsty for activity that once this space was set up, they just went about it on their own. They learned letters by themselves. They learned to read with just very minimal instruction. They wanted to do mathematical concepts. Not that they knew what it was, but they were putting things together. They were making patterns. They were inspecting leaves and ants that they found on the ground. So she saw that there's an actual joy of learning, of just taking from your environment and interpreting it within yourself. So that's basically what Montessori is. Montessori teachers go through very rigorous training in order to know the developmental stages of children and what their brain and their body is prepared to take in. And our job is to set up an environment where all of these tools are available and at the ready, so they don't have to depend on a teacher necessarily. They don't have to depend on the adults in their environment. They're free to learn. So
Mm.
Montessori is basically setting up the freedom to learn and taking a step back, taking yourself out from the equation as most as possible, and just letting children learn because that's what they want to do. We just need to give them the tools and give them the setup to do so.
Absolutely. And it's so interesting to me. And one thing that I'm really curious about, and I'm sure listeners are as well, is what are the benefits of going through like and I might be wording this incorrectly, but going through like the Montessori education compared to going through what would be like a more common public school system that most children tend to go through.
Yeah, that's a very, very common question that people ask me, but they also ask themselves, like, what's the big deal? And I have to tell you, you don't see it until you see it.
Mm.
But what I see the most is just incredible confidence and an ability to problem solve, critical thinking, those kinds of skills that actually take you further as a person with your interpersonal skills. The way that you bring in information and kind of retain it and then process it and bring it out into your activity. Not having to wait for someone to really guide you in being motivated to be creative or be assertive or be an advocate. Like those kinds of things are what come from a Montessori education because
Mm.
children are put in a space where they're not told what to do. They're encouraged to do what they want in order to really create their own self. And it just carries through. And I have a 12-year-old and he's not in Montessori anymore, but I can see, and people tell me like, oh my gosh, he is so da da da. And I'm like, yeah, that's Montessori for you. So, these children grow up in the Montessori method. They grow up without, like, I picture it kind of like a baby jail, like a playpen. Like babies and toddlers, they're put in these, like, I call them baby jails, and my son never had one because I was like, nope. But you're like, they're shut off from the rest of the world and they have to wait in order to participate. And I
Mm.
don't know about you, but if somebody put me in a baby jail, I would like be like, let me out of
Right.
here. I want to do my own thing. And so there's kind of like a stifling that happens to that inner
Mm.
drive to like go for it, do it. Yes, you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to fail and then you're going to pick yourself up again. You're going to learn and you're going to do it again and you're going to do it different and you're going to grow from that, right? So
Yeah.
practiced in being out, making decisions, experiencing consequences, and learning from it. So they have those skills that they're just working on constantly,
Right.
because there's not an adult putting them in that little, cubicle or that little fenced-in area saying, "Oh no, no, wait, oh no, this isn't the right time. Oh no, that's not safe."
Yes. And I'm just assuming based on what you shared here, but it sounds like that any child who goes through Montessori probably has a lot more excitement towards learning because, like you said, they're not stifled, they're not kind of put into one box. They have the freedom and the flexibility and capability of just being able to explore and learn and pick themselves up and exactly what you said.
Yeah. And that's how, we have so many amazing creators that have helped our world in just recent years, right? Creators of Google, creators of Amazon, all of these are Montessorians that went out and changed the world, right? So Montessori just brings up, it just like siphons those creative brains and doesn't put limits to it, right? Because that's
Mm.
creativity, it's thinking outside the box. But if you're put in a box, it's hard to see what's outside.
Absolutely. And so for anyone, I don't want to necessarily use the term like skeptical, but anyone who's kind of like on the fence of whether or not they should have their child go down this path, is there anything that you kind of lead them through, like any type of exercise or whatnot that might help to sway them and show the benefits of it?
Yeah, so one of the things is my cooking class, believe it or not.
Fun.
It's been really eye-opening for so many families. If it was just like one or two families, I'd be like, well, maybe they learned something. But like seriously, I start my classes at 18 months and parents won't sign up because they're like, oh no, not my child. And I'm like, give it a chance. Give it a chance. And I mean, 99.9% of these children that come, the parents are like, I never knew they could do that. And it's like, that's Montessori,
Yeah.
right? If you are skeptical, put your child in a place where they have the right things, they have the right access, and just give them a chance. Give them a chance. See what they can do. And then take that moment and multiply it by like a million. That's a Montessori classroom.
Yeah, that's really interesting, especially like you mentioned. I mean, you offer so many different types of classes and activities that I feel like when parents or caregivers go in, they're probably totally amazed about how many offerings and like possibilities there really are.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, I was just thinking about this recently with some of the newer families that have started coming regularly, and they're trying different things. And it's interesting because one of them said, this is just like a one-stop fun spot because if I sign my child up, like I want my child to do lots of different things, but if I sign them up for this and this and this, not only do you have to commute there, and it's like a lot of time, especially with a toddler, like everybody's late all the time. But then they have to get used to the instructor, right? So it's like there's so much work that goes into exposing a young child to different activities. And she's like, you just have everything here. So it's so nice because they already know you, they get to know you, and then they kind of like let their guard down, you know?
Yeah.
But when they come the second, third time, they're already like without that hesitancy, they're already feeling confident because like this is a place made for them with chairs that are small, with things that are available. And then they get to take these classes and like really do art. Like there's no, I don't say, oh, don't spread the paint there. It's like, nope, all bets are off. Like this is your um and when the parents come and they observe their child participating in these classes, they feel like, okay, like my child can do a lot of things. And yeah, it just kind of, makes perfect sense for them once they start coming regularly. They're like, okay, like it's not that my child can't do something, it's that the places are not set up for them to be able to be successful.
Right. That makes total sense. And
Yeah.
with you running Star Path, are you the only person? And if so, like, how do you just juggle it all? I'm impressed.
Question a lot. So I mean, Star Path is basically 4 years old, but technically it's only 2 years old because at first it was more consulting online during COVID, and
Mm.
things just grew from there. So I've been offering classes for about 2.5 years, and I've been in my new location for almost a year now, which I've it's been wonderful, and I've gotten so many more families coming through the door. Um, I teach full time. I have a 12-year-old. I have a house. I have a dog. I have a lizard. I have a cat. How do I how do I do it all? I do it by being very strategic with my time, but also
Yes.
I do it because it brings me such joy, and I
Hmm.
don't see it as work, right? I
Yeah,
don't see it as work. I see it as I'm gonna go create with these kids.
I love
I'm gonna
that.
go partner with these families. I'm gonna go do this. And yeah, it's just me for now. Sometimes I'll have when I have drop-off programs, I'll have one of my teacher friends come in and help me if I have, enough kids. But yeah, it's basically me just doing all the classes and being here for the families. And I feel like it's really important for Star Path to have a trained Montessori guide, right? To actually
Yes.
know what the lessons are, know what the goals are, know what the benefits are of Montessori, and being able to just have that conversation with parents who are curious.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so yeah, it is just me.
Oh my goodness, you are
Do a very good
incredible.
job at juggling. I love it all.
I can very much see that your passion very much shines through with everything that you do. And so, with that being said, do you foresee yourself taking Star Path full time? Like, is that your goal to transition out of teaching and really go all in? Or I'd love to hear more about what's coming up.
Yeah, so I really don't want to do that yet. I feel like I have hit the lottery with my regular job and my passion job and my mom job. Like it's just
Yeah.
like a full circle situation where I get to really be in the zone, right?
Yeah.
In the all the time. Whenever I'm here, I'm in flow. Whenever I'm in, at my school, working with my children in the classroom, I'm in the zone there. And when I'm at home, I'm so grateful. So it's like I get so many different things from doing all these different things at once. Um, and I gained so much by being a teacher every day, not just with
Mhm.
the children, but with my assistants, with the families that I get to meet and guide, because it's not just about the children, it's about the families and really creating that partnership and community. I just get so much from that. And that is where I actually grow. I grow as a teacher, sort of being like a mentor to some of the other teachers there, but also working together, working together for this school that's doing amazing things. And then here, if I did this, I'd be by myself. Not that not that I don't like it when I'm here with the kids and the children, but like I need camaraderie between myself and other Montessorians in the field, learning new things, practicing skills. So I don't see myself yet turning full time Star Path full time. Right now it's giving me just what I need in all the areas. What I can tell you is I am working on something very exciting that is going to help parents help their toddler at home with things that toddlers just want to do all the time, and the parents just don't want to wait for them to do anymore. So there are certain things that toddlers need that are not yet on the market, and I'm working on designing something that's
So exciting.
going to be very very useful. And then once people see it and use it, they're going to be like, "Where has this been? Where?"
Yes.
I've been thinking about it for many years, just working in the classroom day in, day out with so many different toddlers. And I see like all the challenges they have are
Mm.
because we put obstacles in their way, right? It's the clothing, it's the shoes, it's the lunch containers, it's the lunch boxes, like all these things they want to do and they just can't because anatomically, physically, developmentally, their bodies aren't ready for it. So they need different tools. They need different add-ons. And that's what I'm trying to design right now. So stay
Oh
tuned.
my gosh. Yes, that's so exciting. I can't wait to hear more about that once it comes out. And also, it'll complement what you do so well already. Like, it'll be such a nice thing to offer in addition to what you're currently doing and everything that you're doing with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and that's the, that's the overall goal and mission of Star Path is to really advocate for young children and kind of liberate them. It's
Mm,
like they're being held down and it's not their fault, right? It's not their fault. They want to do and they can do so much. We just have to change our glasses. We
mm.
have to change our glasses from thinking that, oh, it's too big, it's too fast, it's too hard. You gotta take those glasses off and just give them a chance and set them up for success. And that's what I want Star Path to continue to do and do it on a more elevated level.
Absolutely. And I love the perspective that you shared earlier about being really content with where you are with being a mom and having Star Path and being a teacher. And I think that's so admirable because I feel like oftentimes when someone starts a business, people are kind of under the assumption of, oh, well, when are you going to focus on just the business? It's just kind of like assumed. And I love that you are just so content and happy, just juggling all these different roles. And like you said, being able to have one role help you grow as a person to support you in your other role. And I think it's so nice to just have that fluidity in that sense. And so I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like I say it all the time, and people are like, "Yeah, you go, girl." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. I feel content, like you said. Like I feel content. Like I'm working hard at my school, but I love it. I'm working hard at Star Path, but I love it. Just seeing something that, I mean, just experience, and I know that you understand what I mean because you created your own company, right? And you're living in it right now. But being able to see something and bring it to life and live in that and have other people benefit from what you basically created out of nowhere, it's an incredible feeling, right?
Yes.
But I don't want to be, I don't want to put pressure on this creative side because I have to do it every day and da, 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 da. It's like, no, I just want it to live in its beautiful space and I don't want to mess that up. So I feel like right now I've just really hit the sweet spot between all the things that I'm doing, and I don't see a need to change it right now.
That's amazing. And so I know you mentioned that you work on Star Path when you're not teaching. And so is that, I mean, because we're recording during the time of November, is that something that you'll be focusing on like during winter break next month with families and April break or spring break whenever students might have that as well?
Absolutely. So I am here on weekends, and that's been going well. And I just started a drop-off program. So all of my classes are accompanied because the children are so young. But just recently, I opened Star Path Drop Days. So it's a 4-hour program on days when, like holidays. So tomorrow, the day before Thanksgiving, I'll be open from 8 to 12, and people can come in, drop off their child for 4 hours, go do 27 billion things that they have to do before the holiday, and then come back and pick up their happy, tired kid. Take them home to take a nap. I feel like, not enough attention is put on the needs of families with very young children, right? It's like,
Yeah.
we love holidays. Yeah, we have the day off, but also like my kid's home.
Right.
They've seen these toys before and this, that, and the other, get me out of the house. And it's like, there's lots of different places to go. Often those places, though, are very overwhelming, overstimulating, way too loud. By the time the parents get there, they're frustrated. By the time they leave, like they have a headache.
Yeah.
And it's like, come to Star Path and it's chill. It's
Yeah.
chill, nice, calming environment. You come in happy, you leave happy. And I'm so happy that this place is here as an opportunity and an option, as something different that families can find, spend time in, gift their child a great engaging experience. Yeah, and it's here for when you need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that drop-off component is huge because, like you said, it gives parents the space to run their errands, or even if they just need a moment to breathe and might just need their own time, they have the opportunity to do so because of that.
Yeah, and what I also love and why I feel like I'm not gonna, bring too many people on is because I am that trusted person, right? You
Right.
can't just drop your kid off to anybody and you wouldn't want to.
Mhm.
They come here for a class, they come here, for the play space. Then one time they're able to come here, get dropped off with this person that they're familiar with, have a good time, and then go back home.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. And for anyone who's listening who is considering being an educator within Montessori, like what advice would you have for them with just getting started and really being able to hit the ground running?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're thinking about becoming an educator and you want to work with young children, please look into Montessori. It is growing so fast everywhere. It is just what children need, what children really need, is just a bunch of understanding adults who get them, who
Mm.
just get them. And we need good teachers. We need a lot of good teachers, especially in our area. We are kind of like the birthplace of Montessori in the US. New England is, and we have lots of schools, and we need lots more committed, dedicated, brilliant teachers. Look into training, come to my school in Newton. Take a look, come for an observation. We're happy to welcome you anytime. Come to Star Path, set up a time chat. We can have some coffee. I'll tell you anything you need to know. I believe in this so much. Um, and that's why I don't think I'll leave the school scene anytime soon because I really believe in bringing teachers into good schools to see for themselves how it can work and, hopefully spark that interest for them to look into it further and pursue a career. But yes, Montessori is amazing. It's beautiful. And if you need to chat, just, call me.
I love that. And what you brought up was such a great point about really needing teachers who are passionate and here for children, especially at the ages that you're working with. I mean, such a crucial time for development and learning and all of that stuff. So I think it's so important that you brought that up.
Thank you. I truly believe it.
As we get closer to the end of this episode, one of my favorite questions to ask our guests is what their favorite local businesses are to support. And so I'd love to hear the places that you love to frequent, shop at, and be able to support in that sense.
Yeah, I love that question. I live in Dedham, which is very, very close to Boston. Dedham is a small town, and I mean, if you don't know Dedham, you just gotta come because it is it's so vibrant. It's full of so much creativity and love and everything. Not only is Star Path here, come visit me, but also we have the Blue Bunny Books, toys and down the street, which is owned by Peter Reynolds, who is the author illustrator of The Dot and Ish. He just opened with his twin brother Paul. They also live in Dedham, but it's the cutest, most adorable bookstore. Called. They have events all the time. Peter is always there on Saturday mornings, autographing his books. There's a little coffee shop inside, and they just opened the TLC Center, which is kind of like a teacher creativity hub, teaching, learning, and creativity studios. So there's like a podcast studio there, there's a recording studio. There's so much going on there, and it's brand new, and they're having like lots of teacher workshops for schools, lots of creative like puppeteers coming, comic book writers, just lots of different classes for children, for youth, and for adults. So Blue Bunny Books is definitely one of my go-to spots.
Oh, I love that. I'll have to check it out.
Oh yeah, you have to check it out.
Oh, amazing. Clarissa, this has been a really wonderful episode, and I've really appreciated having the opportunity to have you come on the show. And now I'd love to give you the space to share with our listeners where they can find you online in case they'd like to connect further.
Absolutely. Let me just say, Ashley, this has been a joy, and I just feel so honored to have been a part of this show. Thank you for doing what you do for local business owners in our area. It's very much appreciated. That being said, you can find me at starpathmontessori.com and also on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Just look up at Star Path Montessori.
Fabulous. And I will link to all those places in the show notes that way your listeners can click through and connect with you from there. But thank you so much again for being a guest on today's show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.